All right, you guys, I am really, really, really excited about tonight's topic for our call. I kind of have been sitting around thinking about what to talk about, and it was actually on Sunday that I was kind of given the inspiration for this call, and it's about the gift of being broken and the power of vulnerability. And that is something that it may seem like that's something that I've been really good at all of my life, but it's not. I a few years ago, before I joined Beachbody and became a coach, I was a perfectionist, and I didn't want anyone to know, the bad parts of my life or the parts of my life that weren't beautiful. And I was a perfectionist. Like, I will legitly tell you, when I was 17, I asked for Dance Dance Revolution for my birthday, and I got it, and I practiced it in my basement for 3 weeks straight, before I would play it with my friends, because I wasn't going to play with them and lose, because that would mean I was vulnerable, and that would mean that I lost. That was the kind of person I was. I would practice hours and hours for dancing, singing, anything like that. And I grew up here in a small town of less than 1,000 people. My mom was a single mom. My real dad wanted nothing to do with me in my life. And so for a lot of my life, I hid who I was, because I didn't want to be different. I didn't know that there's power in being vulnerable, and there's power in being broken, and I was a wall builder, and I built walls to protect myself. And so I just want to talk to you guys tonight about that, and how breaking down those barriers and being vulnerable is a gift, and it's something that is very, very powerful when it comes to coaching and to attracting those that you want to attract. So to start, if I can click my screen. Here we go. Okay. Do you ever feel broken? Are there times in your life where you've just ever felt like you've fallen short? Maybe things that you didn't do, expectations that were not fulfilled. Maybe choices you made in your life had a negative impact on others. Maybe you've been broken mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. I can tell you right now, I'm a very broken person, and that's not a bad thing, but I'm broken. I feel like all my life I've kind of been broken, and I also was the girl who looked for the guy with a broken wing because I wanted to fix it. And most of you know my story, but I want to share a little bit more about it, just because I think, like I said, there's power in it. So as you guys know, I currently am living with my mom and my dad. My 2 kids and I have moved back to Idaho from Arkansas with my 2 kids. And it's not easy. It's really hard. And there are a lot of days. I've only been here a week, and it feels like I've been here an eternity. And I'm so grateful for my parents and for the support that I've been given in the community that we live. But it doesn't make it easy. There are a lot of times that I try to be strong, but I'm not. I cry because it's not like, my marriage has fallen apart. It's not like, this was a decision we made to move to Arkansas or to Idaho because of the finances. Our finances are in the toilet. They're awful. My house is in foreclosure. Our boat was repossessed. Even going to Nashville, they sucked money out of my account while I was sitting at Summit, and I had literally no money in my account. Literally no money in my account. And, this wasn't like I had to move here, but we knew it was the best decision for us. And so many days I feel broken. And your story about being broken doesn't have to be so major like this, but I know, one of the reasons we came up with our team name, the Ugly Crew, was because everyone has ugly parts of their lives. Moments where they just don't feel beautiful. They feel broken, but those moments can turn into something really incredible. So what I want you to do is, in your free time, I want you to take out a piece of paper or something, and I want you to, those times that you felt broken or didn't feel like you met expectations. Like I said, it doesn't have to be something so extreme as, my story. I also have parts of when I was a little girl. I was broken because my mom was a single mom. My real dad wanted nothing to do with me in my life. But I've also been broken physically. You know, I've had those moments where, you know, I just didn't feel good enough. So I want you to take time to just write down times that you've felt broken and accept the fact that there are parts of your life that are not perfect. There are parts of your life that have been really, really, really hard. Because I'm going to get to more about why you need to do that, but the first step is admitting, you know, like I'm not trying to be like AA or anything like that, but the first step is admitting it and saying it out loud, because sometimes I think we bottle it up so much inside, because if we don't speak it, then it's not truth. It never happened. But there are things that have happened to you that aren't so great, but they've helped define who you are. Sometimes you probably wonder, will I ever be whole again? You know, whatever pain you've experienced in your life, maybe you're going through something major right now. Do you ever feel like you'll be whole again? As a coach, I think sometimes we wonder, will I ever be able to inspire others the way that I want to? Because I'm so broken. I can tell you for the entire last year and into this year, I have felt so broken in my life that I felt that if I added one more person to my plate, to my team, that I would literally drown because I couldn't handle anymore. I was so broken. My boat had so many holes in it, and I just didn't know if I was going to be able to be whole again. You might have thoughts of who would want to sign with you if you don't have all of your ish together, you know? You're like, who would want to be on my team? I'm so broken. I'm so, you know, and my life isn't perfect. It's falling apart. I have nothing going for me. It doesn't seem like, why would anyone want to join my team? But I want to share a really powerful quote with you. The funny thing is, nobody ever really knows how much anybody else is hurting. We could be standing next to someone who is completely broken and we wouldn't even know it. When I read this, I thought it's so true, because what we see on social media is everyone's highlight reels. When I say I was the girl who shared my highlight reels, I mean it. I was the girl who would never, ever, ever air anything on social media that might make me look human. I was a robot, because I didn't want anyone to think that maybe there were parts of me that weren't perfect, and that maybe there were parts of me, you know, that weren't so great. Do you know how many people out there feel that way? More than you know. There are more people out there that have things going on in their life you would never, ever know it. But we don't know people's behind the scenes. You know, sometimes we get our feelings hurt because someone sees our message. We message them, we get vulnerable, we step out of our comfort zone, and we say, hey, you know, you want to join my challenge group? And they don't respond. Sorry, I'm really emotional tonight. And they don't respond. I was the girl who didn't respond because I didn't have the money to pay for it. And so why would I ever tell someone that I don't really know that, hey, I don't have money for this, so, you know, sorry, I would love to, but I don't have the money. I would look at their message, and back then we didn't have the mark as unread. I would look at their message and I would ignore it, because I'm not going to tell you my story. I'm not going to tell you that my life isn't perfect. I'm not going to admit to you that we don't have the finances to do that. So just understand, you guys, everybody is going through something, and you don't know what struggles they're facing. So brokenness and vulnerability are a gift, and that is a gift that we get to share with the world. Part of coaching is being broken and vulnerable. And why? Because it connects us to each other. I can tell you, you've probably had experiences like I have, where you post something vulnerable on social media, and what happens? Messages start flooding in. Not about your business, but because people can relate to you. They connect to you. I have 2 instances in my life where that has happened in my business. The first instance was about my real dad. He didn't want anything to do with me in my life as a little girl. He ended up having 3 other little girls, and when his first daughter came into his life, I didn't make their family perfect. I made it look like they had a, you know, I was kind of their, I was the black sheep. And because I was only a stepchild to my stepmom, that made them look like not a perfect family. And so they just acted as if I didn't exist. My older brother, I have an older half-brother, who I found through social media. He is paralyzed from the waist down because of a motorcycle accident, and my father has no idea. My real dad has no clue because both of us were cast out. Both of us, weren't perfect in his eyes. And I remember sharing a post about that. And I didn't want to, and I wasn't negative about it. And that's something you need to remember is when you share those vulnerable parts of your life, it isn't a place to be negative. It's a place to share that little silver lining. But I shared it, and messages poured in from girls who I had no idea, even girls that I had met through school, even in our small little town, who had a similar experience that I did, whose dad didn't want anything to do with them, who didn't know their dads. And that was really powerful to me. The other one is just recent when I shared my video of struggling with finances. That wasn't easy to do. I went back and forth on, do I tell people that, we just are buried alive in debt, because I didn't want the pity parties. I didn't want, how can we help? Because I feel like we got ourselves in this situation, and there are many people out there who need more help than we do. But I now get messages a lot from people just wanting to just kind of vent about, maybe I had a girl the other day who was delivered papers that their debt collectors are taking them to court. And because I shared my video and I was vulnerable and I shared how broken I was, this girl reached out to me and talked to me about it. There's power in sharing your stories. There's power in getting vulnerable, even when it's not comfortable. It also, brokenness and vulnerability, it brings meaning to our experiences. It helps you see things in a different way. The connections we make by sharing bring healing to ourselves, because now, I don't know how many of you, but there are many times that I feel like I'm stranded alone on a desert island and that nobody understands what I'm going through. The times that I open up and I share this kind of stuff are the times that I start to heal, because I realize I'm not alone, that there are other people out there. And even if there aren't people that can necessarily relate 100% to what I'm going through, they can relate in some way. So, be of good courage. It takes courage to share parts of our life that are tender and broken. It's not easy. And usually, your hands are shaking, your heart's racing, and you're just like, I don't know if I can share this. Those times when you feel that way, you need to share it. To put your failures, flaws, and shortcomings out there for the world to see takes courage. But being broken opens you up to new ideas and ways. It humbles you. And it helps other people see that you're human too. I had a girl message me telling me that she always used to be jealous of me, and she now admires me. I'm not saying this to like brag, but she admires me now, but in a different way. Because she used to be jealous, but now she understands that my life is not perfect. It's not all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, and as much as I wish it were, it's not. So allow yourself to feel what you're going through. Allow yourself to step out of your comfort zone and share who you are, because I can tell you right here, right now, you're not alone. And people are going to admire you so much when you finally share the nitty-gritty of your life and you become real in social media and you share your story, because now they have a connection with you. They trust you because they get it, because you've shared with them something very raw and real. And then one of my favorite authors is Brene Brown, and she has a quote that says, "We can't ask people to give us something that we do not believe we're worthy of receiving, and you will know you're worthy of receiving it when you trust yourself above everyone else." You guys, this is all about trust. You can't ask people to trust you if you don't believe you're worthy of receiving it, their trust. If you're not willing to step out there and share little things that are vulnerable and broken and raw and real, nobody's gonna give that back to you. So I want to say if you're resisting what I'm saying, chances are you need to knock walls down. I am a repeat wall builder. I build walls like nobody's business, but the minute I knock those down are the times that I find true friendship, and I try and find lasting relationships, and it connects me to other people. It's time to reclaim your vulnerability and own the broken and ugly parts of your life, because you are a gift to this world, and you have a story that is unique, that is nobody else's, that nobody else can share, that nobody else, I mean, this is given to you. It is your gift, so share it. So that is the end of my presentation. I want to thank you for listening. Yeah, and if you have any questions, let me know.